Time for an IDIC paint along. Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, time for a little paint along video. It's been a while since I've done one of these, and I thought it'd be nice to do one. So hopefully my laptop will cope with this particular video. My laptop is on its last legs. I do need to get a new one, but we'll see how it goes. The image quality isn't that great, so you're not going to be able to see a huge amount, but hopefully you'll still enjoy painting along with me. Now today I'm going to be painting my Space Wolf's armour. So far I've done quite a few glazes of the next highlight. I'm just going to finish those glazes off with some wet blending, just to finish them basically. So what have I been up to? Well, I went to the dentist yesterday, which is probably why you may hear me talking a little bit odd. Yeah, I went to the dentist. I had to have a tooth extracted, which is my second tooth, unfortunately, to be extracted, which is quite annoying. But yeah, what happened? It was about 2 months ago. I went to the dentist for a checkup, and I was told, oh, I need a filling, just a little filling, in one of my teeth. I think it's called the submolar, is it? Something like that. So I said, oh, okay then, fine, fair enough. So I booked me in to do the filling. Like a week later, I had the filling done. And then after the filling, I went for about 2-3 weeks, and it's pretty painful, pretty sensitive. But I was told it does take, a few weeks for it to settle down as such. Yeah, that went on for quite some time. The last 3 weeks I've been in absolute agony. I had to go back for an emergency appointment, and apparently the tooth is cracked. So probably a result of the filling, I would have thought. And then I decided to have it extracted rather than having root canal. Mainly, well, for several reasons really. Didn't fancy a root canal, but I suppose honestly the main reason is the cost. It's quite expensive for the root canal compared to having a tooth extracted. So I had it extracted. Now the last one I had extracted, I did actually make a video on it last year actually, and I had an awful experience. I had like maximum injections, and everything just was a disaster. I could still feel pain even with all the injections. Eventually got it out, but wow, what a nightmare. So I thought, okay, well this one probably will go a bit better, but yeah, boy was I wrong. So they started extracting it, and the tooth broke, not downwards, like a cross. Yeah, it snapped off, so she had to go manually digging in to get the roots out. She got one root out, but the other one would not come out, so it's still in there. So she referred me to a specialist. She said it may just grow, heal up over the top of the root and may be okay, or I might have to go in and have like a flap of skin taken out and have that root done. But yeah, what a nightmare. So not a nice experience, unfortunately. So today I'm just taking it easy and doing some painting, obviously. Okay, so that's my tooth experience. On top of that, yesterday I found out one of my friends has died, unfortunately. He was like a friend of a friend, but we gamed together, and I didn't know him, and yeah, it's shame really. It wasn't particularly unexpected, I suppose you could say. He was born with spina bifida, and he had like a rod in his back, metal rod, and I believe they originally said he probably only lived to like 30. And he was my age, so he was 45. So he did quite well, I suppose you could say, but it's still a bit of a blow. He hadn't gamed recently, to be fair, not with 40k anyway. We did do some attack wing together, but in the end he didn't tend to go out that much, because as soon as he got like a cold or something, it like really affected him. So yeah, that's a bit of a blow, unfortunately. So it's not been going that well lately, unfortunately. Yeah, so the other thing I was going to talk about here was live streams. Now, I really would like to do a live stream. I feel my laptop is hindering me at the moment. I have tried a live stream once before, but yeah, like I said, I think the laptop's sort of hindering me a bit, but I think I would like to do some sort of live stream show. Finding it difficult here, talking and painting. I don't usually do it, to be fair. Just trying to blend this big shield in. Well, not shield, leg. This grey armour does take ages to paint. Done, and the glazing probably I've been doing for about 6 or 7 hours, I think. And the wet blending here probably going to take me well, probably about the same sort of time, I would have thought. So yeah, live show. What do you think? You think I should do a live show? And I discussed previously about doing a non-hobby related video series, a bit like Richard does from the Nerd Life. He does like Weird Wednesday, just like a general update of his life more than hobby. I thought I might do a live stream like that. I was thinking of calling it a beer with beer, and then and I don't drink generally on the whole, but I thought in this episode I'd get myself a can of beer, I'd drink it whilst we're talking, and then when the can of beer's gone, and we'll stop the show. That was the idea that I've been toying with. I don't know how well it will go down, but I thought it might be fun. Right, just wet blending out this little section here. Now I'm struggling a little bit because I'm very much used to be fair, doing what you shouldn't do, and that's licking the brush. So I'm having to do this all without licking the brush, because obviously my tooth, I don't want to get any infection or anything in there. So I'm actually finding it more difficult than probably I normally would, to be fair, but it's okay. Who knows, maybe I won't lick my brush ever again after doing this. So I've got my daughter, she's coming up, she's just about to leave school, got 2 days left, been doing her exams, and then she's got her prom night, and her prom night is on the same day as my youngest daughter's birthday, on the 29th of June. So I'm going to have to split my time there somehow. Should be fun. Yeah, wow, 16. My eldest daughter, 16. My youngest is just about to turn 9. Life is going very quickly, for sure. And I'm definitely getting older. I hit 45 in March. The next day I had my letter through from the doctor saying, urgent, call the health clinic thing, you need your old man checkup. Well, they didn't say old man checkup, that's what I called it. But yeah, I need my health checkup. So, so I booked that in, went in, I had blood tests, etc. A little bit odd because I'm just doing this tiny little bit here. Yeah, a little bit odd because they asked me my height. They didn't measure my height, they just asked me, how tall are you? I said, well, I think I'm just under 6 foot, about 5'11". So I always say I'm 6 foot, but the reality is I'm probably 5'11". So she wrote that down on a piece of paper, and she asked me to weigh myself. Or she weighed me on these scales. I had to keep all my clothes on. Now, the night before, I had a massive pizza. I had heavy jeans on. I had my walking shoes, quite big walking shoes. And she weighed me, and at the end, she said, "Okay, well everything's all right." Basically, she said, "Yeah, there's no risk at this moment in time of all the different stuff, diabetes and all the rest of it." So she sent me away with this pamphlet, and in the pamphlet it's got like traffic light symbols for different things. So, like for example, your salt levels. No, it wasn't salt levels. What was it? I think it's like your risk of diabetes, like green, orange, or red. So she handed me this brochure. Took it home, had a look at it. Everything of mine was green. I thought, oh, that's great. Until I looked at my weight. Now, she weighed me at, what did she say I was? 12.5 stone, I think it was. Something like that. But bear in mind I had all these clothes on, God knows what else. Usually when I weigh myself with no clothes on, I'm about 12 stone, so it's probably about right. But apparently I am overweight. And have you seen me? How skinny I am? But yeah, I've got an orange, like cautious thing. Told my mum, and my mum is pretty big, to be fair, and she couldn't believe it. You overweight? I suppose the threshold is quite small, isn't it? Being like normal as such, I suppose. Overweight and obese, the threshold, there isn't actually that much difference. So, not only am I old, I'm fat apparently. Yeah, I thought it made me laugh. I can understand basically what they're saying is just keep an eye on it. And to be fair, I do usually keep an eye on my weight. And I'll go through like a few months of eating whatever I want, and then I think, hello, starting to get a bit chubby there, and then I'll start eating a bit healthier for a few months. I'm finding this quite difficult, not being able to lick the brush. I've got tissue and water, and I'm doing it that way. Usually now I lick the brush when I've got to go into the water and then wipe it off the towel, which I said is probably healthier anyway. Right, let's do this one. So, 8th edition. Yeah, my buddy came round on Friday, which was actually the day that I made the last 8th edition update video that you saw about army lists. So I made that during the day, and he came round in the evening, and we had a good look at the rules together. He was looking at his Blood Angels. I think it's the first time he'd seen them. So yeah, we had a good look at the rules together, which was good. Running over the core rules together, and also having a look at some of our army stats. And we've booked in to play this Friday 1,000-point game. Now, I don't know 100% if it will go ahead because the person that passed away is my buddy's best friend, so I'm not quite sure how he's going to feel, but yeah. So I have my list ready to go. Going to be playing Necrons, of course, and I'm just going to test out a few units. So like I said, we're playing 1,000 points, so I'm going with the first detachment. What's it called? Patrol, I think it's called. So I'm going for patrol. So 1 HQ and 1 troops. I'm going to use Illuminor and some Immortals, because I just want to see that in action. Now my Immortals are the old ones, so they are Gauls, because the old ones only had Gauls weapons. It seems like potentially Tesla might be better in this edition, but I need to check. I need to practice. Well, not practice. I need to play test that. I do like the -1 AP Gauls, but I suppose you're going to have that on warriors. One thing which is really noticeable is how many points the units are taking up these days. It's like you definitely cannot have as many toys on the table. So yeah, I've got Illuminor and a unit of warriors just to try that combination out. Illuminor seems pretty good in this edition. I did use him in the last edition anyway, because he was ideal for smaller point games. I always felt. So running alongside that, just got to do a little. It's got to be concentrating on this bit. Talking and painting can be sometimes really difficult. Those that do it all the time on their videos, I can say well done to you. So I find it quite tough. Okay, so I've got a model. I nearly lit the brush then. I've got a model from the last batch just to compare, so I can make sure I've got the highlights. I mean, most of the highlighting is done with the glazing, so really this wet blending is like just to finish it off, especially on some of these bigger parts like the legs and stuff. So it's looking pretty good there at the moment. Right, yeah, so back to the Necrons. So I've got to try and remember what I've taken now. So I've got a squad of 10 flayed ones, just so I can see flayed ones in action. I'll probably infiltrate them, try and get first turn assault, see how that works. And then I've got what else did I have? Oh yeah, a monolith. That's right, a monolith, and then I think I had like 7 scarabs with the rest of the points. That's 1,000 points. Wow. So I've got one thing from each slot: the monolith and heavy support. So I can try that out. I thought that'd be fun to try out. I've got the scarabs from the fast attack, just because they're pretty cheap now. Scarabs, I think they're what, 13 points. So I thought I'd just try get a few of them in. I did start with wraiths in the list, but there wasn't enough points. So I'm going to try some scarabs out. So what I've just done, actually, if you're interested, is I've just added a lot of water to some of this grey just on one side of my paint palette. I'm using a wet paint palette, and I've made a little glaze. So now I'm just finishing everything off with a little glaze, just in case you're wondering what I'm doing. So yeah, I've got one thing from each slot. So I've got nice fast attack, I've got the elites with the flayed ones, the heavy support, the troops, and the HQ. And it seems like a nice little starter list. I'm sure my buddy will probably play Blood Angels. He's quite impressed, I think, with the bolt gun rule. Obviously he's got his bolt guns and being able to shoot and stuff. yeah, some interesting rule sets. I think how it's going to play. I'm looking forward to finding out. So this morning I watched a video by Darklight Dreamer, awesome Let's Play channel, and there's a little special video today with Mythos from Frost and Fists. They were doing a little run over some of the new releases that are coming up. Now, I'm not a gamer at all, but I was before I did this, I was painting the backpacks. They're all done actually, the 3 backpacks. They're all finished, and I wanted like a long video to watch while I painted them, so I popped that one on. Yeah, it was a good video that was. Right, I think that's 1 done. 4 more to go. That's a good thing about painting these in smaller squads of 5. It tends to be a lot less painful when you're doing the blending. Units of 10 just seem to take forever. What I do is I mean, even I'll be painting 10, is I'll split them down into like sections as well, just to try and make it easier. So I tend to wet blend the top of the feet and then the big panels really. This one's not too bad, it hasn't got much grey on because it's got that Chaos body. So this video is going to come out after the update where you see this work that I've just done, but I've also done the freehand on these guys. What else did I do? Freehand. Oh yeah, I've done the teeth and the eyes. But to be honest with you, the last couple of days I've struggled to do much painting, not because I haven't been enthusiastic about it or because I've lost motivation, but because my tooth has been hurting so much. I've been in absolute agony. I'm okay now, the tooth has come out. Yeah, I'm a bit sore, a bit tender, but before I had the tooth out I was in absolute agony. It was like waves of pain, which I think is typical from a cracked tooth. So it would start, it wasn't even where the tooth was actually, to be fair. I mean, it would start in that area, I suppose, and then I just get this wave of pain go right through my jaw, up the side of my face, like around my ear would kill me, the inner ear, and then right up to my temple on that side of the face. Excruciating pain. Yeah, so I've been on painkillers for the last probably 3 weeks. Still on them now because I've still got like a bit of a dull ache, obviously where they've been messing around, but it won't be much longer. I think I'll have to be on them, and I have my fingers crossed that this root which is left in will just heal over and be all hunky-dory. Now the only disadvantage it is with the root in there is if I did want a false tooth put in, and I don't think I will, but if I did, then obviously that would be in the way of drilling a hole into the gum. I don't have a particularly big smile as such, so you can't actually see the gap when I smile, which is useful. As my wife would say, I don't smile a lot. My wife and I don't really have the same sense of humour. She doesn't get the English sense of humour at all. So my wife is from Indonesia, and she has, I suppose you could say, a slapstick humour. So she'll laugh at like Mr. Bean, you know, that type of humour. I don't enjoy that at all. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Mr. Bean. Yeah, that's probably coming across. No, okay, I do like those sort of humours. If they're well done, and Mr. Bean is quite well done. Sometimes I watch a movie, it will start off okay, start off quite funny, but then it'll just get ridiculous. I don't like ridiculous comedy. I suppose I'm a bit of I like black comedy, I suppose, a bit more. Sarcastic comedy as well. Now my wife does not get sarcasm whatsoever. I'll make a joke and I'll just get into trouble. So according to her, I don't smile or laugh. When I'm with my friends, I'm laughing and joking all the time. When I'm with her, it's like nothing, because she just doesn't get it. Now see where I weather these up as well. Any imperfections will be sorted out with some weathering. So what I'm doing here effectively is I'm putting down the low light, because I'm blending with two colours, and then I'm going into the shadow area with the other colour, and then I'm sort of just blending it together. Now I could have done this grey with more colours than just what I'm doing. Basically I'm just using two colours, and what I'm doing is I'm using the glaze and the wet blending, excuse me, to give me different intensities of highlights. I think ultimately what I'm doing here is I'm highlighting, but making it try to look as natural highlighting as possible. Now, if I was painting to the next level, and to be fair, when I first started painting these walls, this was the best that I could ever paint. I think from painting these walls, I think I'm ready for the next level, to be honest. And I think the next level would be, and I think I got this mainly from Vince Venturella, I can never pronounce his second name, from Vince and his MPB League thing. And every time I always submitted my space walls for his little review, and every time I always got the same comment back, that they look awesome, but the grey doesn't have enough shadow. Well, I say it doesn't have enough shadow. Obviously there is the point that the camera, the photographs and the camera, especially with grey, will wash out stuff, and I do find that. I mean, you speak to anyone who's seen my models in the real, and you know this yourself anyway. When you see them on the camera, you know, the camera just doesn't do your models justice. They never look as good on the camera. It doesn't matter how good your camera is or your lighting, they always look better in the real. I think that's down to scale, because obviously when you're videoing, it's much closer than you look with the human eye, so it tends to show more errors up. So I think that has a big impact on it. So yeah, I always get the comment about the grey, and I think if I was to do it again, I would incorporate. No, not if I was going to do it again, because I'm very, very happy with my wolves. If I was going to do a wolf for a painting competition, so I wanted to right, I'm going to go into Golden Demon, I think I could take these walls to the next level now. I don't think I could have done when I first started painting them, but yeah, I think I probably could, and that would be by going with a darker grey and having that extra blend and highlights in. Now I have been painting for many years, as you know. I mean, I started this hobby I think in about 1990ish, 91, something like that. I think 90, yeah, something like that. But I've not been painting that long. Well, I have, but I haven't. So let me explain. So my first army was Necrons, and I did start painting my Necrons from the off. But painting Necrons is not really painting. All I was doing with those Necrons, hold on, let me just got a bit stuck there. all I was doing with those Necrons was glazing, was dry brushing them, which is obviously one of the easiest techniques. It's a good technique for Necrons, but it's quite a simple technique. So just dry brushing them. I was just painting the green, just a flat green, and I didn't really start painting, what I call painting, until I started painting my Eldar. I painted the Eldar in 2000 and, let's just have a think, 2009. So quite a number of years, like 7 years after. So in my eye, I've only really been painting since 2009. So it's still a reasonable time, obviously 8 years. But it's not as long as you might think, being that I've been in the hobby for so long. I haven't really been learning the techniques until then, until I got to my Eldar, and one of the first units I did was the Guardians, which was painting white. I did my Dire Avengers, my first unit where I had edge highlighting. Right, you have to bear with me here, I need to stop talking because I've got a little, this hasn't come out quite how I want it to, and I think it's because I'm talking, so let me just stop talking for a second. Right, I think it's a combination of talking and also not being able to lift my brush, which I'm so used to. Right, I think I'm going to have to go back to glazing this. Let's get some more glaze going. As you can see, it's just the final sections of these highlights on this grey, so I do take time on them. Oh yeah, talking of painting, excellent. I've got a fantastic project coming up which I cannot wait for. So I was contacted by Dwayne. Now, I'm trying to think if I can remember his channel name or not. I don't think I can, to be fair. He hasn't posted on his channel for ages, so I think he's got software problems. But anyway, he contacted me. He's got a Games Workshop Slaanesh dog collars. Not dog collar. What's it called? Army things. Dog tags. That's it. Dog tags. Dog collar. So yeah, he's got some Slaanesh dog tags, and he's looking to do a trade for them. And he plays orcs, and I don't really have any orc stuff to trade, so I offered to paint something for him instead, something orky, because I have done some orcs before and I really enjoyed painting them, and he agreed to that, and he's sending me, now I'm trying to think of which model it's called. I think I want to say Weird Boy. It's the one with the shock attack gun, is it? With the gun that spins round. Looks like an awesome model. I am really looking forward to painting that up for him. I don't know that I'd want to paint a whole army of orcs, but I definitely enjoy painting orcs. The green skin I find very rewarding. They're doing a load of roadworks in our road at the moment, something to do with the gas, so it might be why it's a bit noisier, and I've got the windows open because it's a stonking hot day today. So Commissar Gamza You can see my legs today. So I did that shout out video earlier in the week or last week. I'm not sure when this video is going to go up. Yeah, I did the shout out video. So they quick rapid fire shouts. Seems like a lot of the channels got at least a few extra subs. It's always good. You never know how these things are going to go down. Sometimes they'll go down really well and they get loads and loads of subs. Sometimes they just got like 5 or 10. Or the way I see it, if I can send one person over to their channel, then that's job done. Right, that's looking pretty good. Just have a look at that foot. I think I need to do some on that. Something which just popped into my head, which I don't think I've heard anyone, not a single person on YouTube that I watch, talk about this. So it could be quite an interesting one. But about overworking your model, like knowing when to stop. Maybe it's just because it's really obvious, I don't know, but yeah, you can paint your model and get it really good, and then you look at it and think, oh, maybe I could just do that bit, or maybe I could do that bit, and you work it even more, and then all of a sudden you've ruined it. I think it's quite a vital thing, knowing when to stop painting. Right, I'm just going to do a little bit more work on this bottom foot here, and then I think I'm done. On this model anyway. So let it dry and go over that. So I'm currently drinking out of a straw. Yeah, just I find it more comfortable. Yesterday I didn't have a cup of coffee because of my tooth. And boy, did I have a headache afterwards. So today I've just made a cup of coffee. I've let it go fairly cold and I'm just drinking that. Also got to rinse with salt water today as well, just to make sure there's no infections and stuff. Right, let's have another go at this one. That's the thing, blending, sometimes you've got to do several layers to almost like build it up. So, Saved by Slaanesh series is finally started. Seems to have gone down quite well. I've got my usual dislikes on there. I always get dislikes. I think that's one thing I've noticed. The bigger your channel gets, the more views you get, the more dislikes you get. I suppose it's only natural, isn't it? But yeah. I've got lots of views on them, on that series of videos, so that's good. So yeah, it seems like it's going down quite well. Potentially, I suppose, attracting a new breed of people to my channel. In fact, I've got Chaos on my channel now as well. I'm still working on this bit. It's a big plate, and I just want to get it as good as I can. And like I said, if I end up not being satisfied with the blend, then I will just weather it. Oh, I wish I could lick that brush. Right, I'm going to let that dry, just have one more little look at it. Wow, I've only done 2. And that's not even finished yet. Yeah. I haven't actually looked at the new Wolven stats yet. So I'm going to, obviously these don't have any weapon upgrades, so these are just basic. And then the first 5, I've got 2 shields, the Great Axe, and 2 claws, 1 pack leader, 1 normal. So I'm going to see, I've got another 13 wolves still, and then I'm going to look at the rules and then convert them up. So if I think I need more shields, I'll add in some more shields. If I need more great axes, I'll add in more great axes. It's hard to magnetise the weapon options because of their, obviously where they're metal models, and where the new Space Wolves bits are smaller, like all the hands and stuff are smaller. It's just a hard one because the only way to get them to like convert as such is to actually green stuff in all the gaps and things. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's just probably easier. But I am gonna just glaze up this final little highlight now, and then I think that'll be done. Right. So yeah, I'm gonna see what happens. So I wasn't quite sure what to paint next, to be fair, but now I've got this orc coming. I think that's made up my mind. I'm gonna paint that orc up. Cool. Yeah. So a little glaze there, just on the end, just to increase the highlights a bit. When I say on my videos, when I update the Space Wolves, I did a sort of wet blend glaze. And that's what I mean. It's like half glazed, half wet blended. I could glaze everything, but that would literally just take hours. And the wet blending, because I'm only using 2 colours, sort of almost is just as easy, or looks as good, sorry, as the glazing on certain areas. But the combination of both, like I said, gives me different intensities of highlights, which is really nice. Right, so that is 2 done. Have a little break and have a cup of coffee with my straw. So yeah, I'm sure I will record my 8th edition game on Friday. Looking forward to it. One thing my buddy and I didn't really look at on the day was about terrain. So it seems if you just look at the core rules, let's get another model out. This one's got a lot of grey. Wow. Okay, this is going to take a long time, this one. Right, so yeah, if you look at the core rules, the terrain effectively doesn't really do much. Now, as far as I can see, there is no rough terrain check anymore to see how far you move. But if you're moving obviously up and down things, you've got to measure. So if you're moving up a shipping container, for example, and the shipping container is 2 inches, that's part of your movement. But as far as I can tell, there's no tests as such. Now, the other thing is about getting cover saves. Dramatically different. You have to be the whole unit. Now I've seen this in Age of Sigmar when I played with Aceface. That's one reason why Aceface wanted me to play Age of Sigmar, was to get an idea of what it's going to be like. But yeah, so the whole unit has to be standing in the terrain to gain that cover save. So it's no longer just a case of having a few men in. The whole unit has to be in that piece of terrain. That's big. That is big. I'm sort of thinking that terrain maybe won't have such a big impact on the game. And when we played Age of Sigmar as well, sort of almost they said we don't really need much terrain, just a bit in the middle and a few scatter pieces. So yeah, now my buddy and I saw those rules, and then we thought, oh okay, well, you know, that's that. Later on, after he went, I had a further delve, and I came across obviously the actual terrain feature rules, where they talk about basically the Games Workshop terrains that they've got, like the Twisted Forest, is it called? And then they've got the special rules for that. And of course it later goes in to say how you can adapt them. So if you've got your own little terrain features, you can then start to... I've just got to make up another little glaze here. The base coat colour this time. If you are wondering, me talking about all these different glazes and stuff, and you're wondering what the hell is he talking about, then I do have my Back to Basics series, which if you check that out, it's got all the different techniques that I'm talking about here, the wet blending, the glazing, etc. Yes, I think terrain maybe is a little bit more involved. So what I'm going to have to do, I think, is guess a lot of my terrain out and work out some of the rules for them, so we both know what's going on. Well, I say we both know, so my friend and I know what's going on. Primarily that's mainly who I play with. It's quite interesting with the points level. I'm trying to look at why GW have done that, because obviously if everything's more expensive point wise, it means you're going to have less toys on the table, which means GW are going to sell less models, arguably. I suppose the other side of the coin is, if you need less models to play the game, then it's easier for beginners to get into the game. Thus, more beginners come into the game, so they sell more models. So maybe they're looking at it from that point of view. Because let's face it, you know, I mean, I've tried to do it as well. You know, you talk to your friends, you know, they inquire what you do, and they think, oh yeah, that sounds really cool. You know, that sounds good. And then I'm sort of half thinking, well, maybe I should ask him to fancies a game. You know, he can play with my models, obviously, at first. And then you think about the models and how much they cost and how much the game costs, and then you know that your friend's financial situation isn't that great, and there's going to be no way that he's going to be able to afford to get into this hobby, so you don't go there. Possibly with this new edition that could be different. I mean, okay, you can obviously play smaller games, but you know, if you can tell the guy now that, oh, to play 1500 point game, you know, you only need 6 models, you know, a few tanks and that, I suppose arguably it could be easier for them to get into the game. Now this guy is holding a demon head, and I don't know what demon it's supposed to be. I think it might be a demonette, but if not, it's going to be a demonette anyway. So I'm going to paint it as a demonette. I still haven't attempted to paint it yet because I don't know how I'm going to paint my demonette skin yet. So I suppose I'm going to use it as a tester, even though it may not necessarily be my final look. At least it will be a tester. So there's not as much grey armour on here as I thought, because most of it's quite small, which means the glazing's already highlighted it. So I'm just going to go in almost at edge highlight, but not an actual edge highlight. So apart from the black, the black is edge highlighted on these models, and that is the only edge highlighting that I do. Talking about painting to the next level, you're probably thinking, well, why not just take these walls to the next level? Well, that's the thing with me, with armies. I do like my armies to all be the same. So I wouldn't want a few models, even characters. I know a lot of people say, oh, you paint your characters, to a higher standard, put more time into them. I don't like that. I like my whole army to look the same. So I either put the time in or I don't. Now, as I've already painted a good majority of this army already to this standard, that's why I want to keep to this standard. But then, on the other side of the coin, I'm not practicing new techniques and stuff. I'm just perfecting, I suppose, what I already have learnt. That is the thing. When I first started painting these walls, I was literally learning everything as I went along. Now I'm painting these walls and I feel very competent in what I'm doing. I don't feel nervous about having to wet blend this grey armour, I'm just doing it. And I think that's what I've noticed, my improvement whilst painting these walls. And that's why I feel now I'm ready for the next level, because I feel like I can paint all of these to this level without having to worry about it or think about it. So the only way for me is to have a new army to paint. Haha. Say bye, Slaanesh. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to painting them. Okay, let's just compare him to another model. Actually, I've got the same sculpt here. It's amazing how different these look. May look about right, so I am going to just do the top collar. Just a tiny bit. The eyes were quite difficult on these things. The eye sockets aren't that great. That's one thing with metal models, is the detail's not quite as good. But I have enjoyed painting these, and I mean, you can't tell they're metal. Actually, to be fair, these are fantastic sculpts. I personally like them better than the new Wolven. Right, number 3 done. 2 left. Let's have another little rest. I think you have to have little rests. Sometimes, like now, actually I'm going to do this. Sometimes I just put my lid on my paint palettes there, just sort of reaffirms in my mind this is a little rest period. So I'm just going to sit here for a couple of minutes, just drink my coffee. I've also got some water to drink as well, sort of making sure I don't get dehydrated. And yeah, have a little rest. I look at the models and think to myself, yeah, doing well. Got 3 done out of 5, still a couple to go, but I'm definitely getting there. So actually, when I finish the grey, all I've got left to do is paint that demonette he's holding, do the edge highlighting of the black, and then weather them, do some blood. I'm going to do some blood on the claws, and the main reason for that, I mean, I'm going to have blood on them anyway. I have noticed that the claws aren't particularly sharp, let's say. Not sharp as in like clawing you, but as in the sculpt, not particularly clear. I suppose it's just because it's metal and it's old technology, but yeah, some of the claws aren't fantastically sculpted. They're okay, they look alright, but I think I just want to hide a few imperfections, and the blood will do that quite nicely. Right, okay, so let us get on with the next one. See how much grey this one's got. Okay, well this one's got 2 chaos legs, which is excellent. This one hasn't got much grey on at all. Brilliant. Right, we need the paint. I did have a little list of topics to talk about. To be honest with you, I've spoken about all of them already, so from now on we're just going to go on the fly as such. I've noticed in my videos I say as such quite a lot. It's almost like a way of ending my videos. Not ending, but ending a sentence. So, everyone has their little quirks, don't they? Whether it be ums and ahs or a particular thing they say. I mean, if you watch Fritz videos, he always says in there and on there quite a lot. So that's his. I mean, he never says and but he does say on there quite a lot. That's his little thinker, stop thinker. I mean, we say ums and ahs, don't we, to give our brain time to think about what we're going to say. So I suppose that's why he says on there. I've noticed a few of his commenters. Actually, I've noticed Fritz is getting not that much love on some of his comments recently. I saw one comment today. It said, "Oh, I was told to come here because you've got great videos, but you always seem to go off topic. I'm going to unsubscribe." Okay. I think, yeah, fair enough. I mean, at the end of the day, that was quite a good comment, because at least he voiced his opinion rather than just pressing the dislike button. So I'm not going to moan at that comment. But what the point is that I've noticed Fritz not getting a great deal of love on his 8th edition videos. Personally, I've been enjoying them, and I suppose where I've been following Fritz for such a long time, I understand where he's coming from. Maybe was if you just popped onto his video, maybe you don't quite get that background of his and his history as such, which I think has a big impact. And I think that's where we got almost like a divide of YouTubers, I suppose, in that we've got like old school ones like me that have been playing the game for ages, know all the old editions, and you know, it's all about the transition. And then you've got other channels which, you know, because there's always new channels starting up, you've got other channels which maybe have only ever played 7th edition or just getting into 8th edition, and you know, they're looking at it from a different angle. Okay, so I just noticed the video had stopped recording on that last section that I was talking about. So you've just missed a little section, but anyway, it would seem that my laptop can only record 1 hour of footage at a time, and to be fair, usually I let these videos go on for about an hour, so I think I'm going to finish up here. The only thing that I was going to re-talk about, because like I said, it just got cut off, was my YouTube earnings. Seems to have gone up quite nicely over the last 28 days. I think obviously the 8th edition videos have helped, in particular my Necron one. I think I've got the most earnings I've ever had on that video in a 28-day period. So that's really good to see. Now I've got a giveaway coming up, just moving on to the last man now. Yeah, so I've got a giveaway coming up which is for hitting 7,000 subscribers. So I'm currently on 6,500, just about anyway. I think I'm 20 away. So I will be using my earnings to give something away. Looking forward to that. I'm sure that'll be fun. Giveaways are always fun. So I don't know about you, but when it's Christmas or birthdays or stuff, I very much enjoy giving. I mean, yeah, it's nice to receive presents, but you know, watching someone open their present for me is just as rewarding. Hello, got a hair. Right, okay, so I'm going to end it here because I'm finding the chat that I just didn't record isn't coming as, it's not flowing. I don't know if you find that, you know, the first time when you make a video, it's usually the first take which is the best one. If you have to re-record it, it's never quite as good. So I am going to cut it here. It's a 1 hour video anyway, so yeah, really hope you enjoyed painting along with me. I shall see if I can make some more videos like this in the future, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.